Julie Marie and I'm here in the Protective Diet Test Kitchen, and I'm so excited to show you the technique video to go along with my latest recipe for filet no fish sandwiches and fishless fish sticks. We're starting off with a box of extra firm or firm tofu. And this tofu's been frozen for at least 24 hours in my freezer, and then I defrosted it overnight on the counter. And now it's nice and soft. And I pressed it in my tofu press. And when we freeze tofu, it gets very spongy and it releases the water very quickly in a tofu press. The other way to do it if you don't have a tofu press is to cut your package open. And just for a reminder for those of you that are new to using tofu, it comes in this preserving liquid and we never use it in any protective diet recipes. So you can just put that down the drain. And you can see this tofu becomes very spongy. Unlike fresh tofu, this tofu's been frozen to give it this texture that we desire. This is the technique I came up with if you don't have a tofu press. If the tofu has been frozen and defrosted, it's very spongy. So you can just press it between two plates to get all the moisture out. You don't have to wrap it in paper towels. So this tofu is actually pressed in just minutes. This technique is actually faster for me to do with the two plates than to use my tofu press. I'm going to show you the cutting technique for the filet no fish sandwich. So first we're going to cut our tofu into two rectangular shapes, just one cut down the center. And then we're going to turn it and cut it so it's thinner. Or you could cut it parallel with the countertop like this. So we're going to end up with two fillets, just like that, with each side, a total of 4. It might be easier for you to cut this way or this way, you decide. Just so that you're ending up with 4 fillets. And the original brick, I'm just going to show you again, was like this. So you're cutting it so it's thinner and then in half. Then we're going to take each fillet, dip it into the batter, using one hand in the batter and one hand in the dry. I prefer to use my left hand in the batter, allowing any of the excess batter to drip off, but keeping some so that the breading sticks nicely. Then you can toss it into your bag of breading. Using your dry hand, you can coat the fillet, or you can gently shake the bag, and that's going to coat your fillet. And then place it onto a baking pan. I have this one lined with parchment paper. But you could also use a baking pan lined with a silicone mat, which is what I prefer, but I wanted to show you could use either way. And just press the breading on there nicely, and then proceed with the next. I'm also going to show you how to do the fishless sticks. If your hands start to get too covered in batter, just rinse them off and continue on. I'm going to get my other piece of tofu to show you the cutting technique of the fishless sticks. These fishless sticks are fantastic for packing in kids' lunches. I found you can bake them and then freeze them and put them in their lunches, and they're delicious defrosted at room temperature. So after you press the tofu, the air is going to go back into it and it's going to come back into a nice shape. And we're going to cut this into 10 sticks. I actually ended up with 8. It's not that technically specific, but you don't want them too thin or else they'll dry out. So the other way to do the breading is to put the breading into a bowl. And I find this way even easier for me. If you're working with kids, they might like the bag, then they can give the bag a shake. Take your fishless stick, dip it into the batter with your left hand, allow the excess batter to drip off, Make a place for it in the breading. Place it into the breading using your dry hand. Coat the Fishless stick, pressing it on. And then placing it onto your lined baking sheet, and so on, until you coat all of them. These would be a great recipe to make a double batch for, like I'm doing today. I doubled up my batter, I doubled up my breading, and I used 2 bricks of tofu instead of 1, which is for the original recipe. The last 5 minutes of the bake time, I heated up one of my frozen PD burger buns, and I'm going to layer up my bun with my creamy tartar sauce, Protective Diet creamy tartar sauce. It's very low calorie, so go ahead and load up your bun. And you can top this off if you want, and then of course put your filet no fish on top of the tartar sauce. So you could top this off with some leafy greens and some sliced tomatoes if you wish, or you could leave it plain, whatever you prefer. The Fishless sticks, serve tartar sauce in a little dish on the side for your kids. And encourage them to give it a try. For more recipes like this, enroll in Protective Diet education and have your kids eat their way to optimal health alongside of you. Take care and best of health.